Yo,
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 159.
159, we're back, baby.
We're back.
Better than ever.
And it's been a little bit. Where have you been? What's been going on?
Oh, it's Proc and cheat death over here, you know?
Rock and cheat death? Yeah, did it work?
I mean, twice, yeah. Dodged.
What? So, I like the little hipster hat.
My
as you
hipster hat?
called it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I like your hipster hat.
Looking
It's
good.
Interesting piece of hardware you got there.
Yeah, hopefully it cools down so I don't look so strange. It's like,
Why do you have that on?
Well, so I had surgery. You know, we talked about before on the last podcast. I had cubital tunnel surgery, which is ulnar nerve decompression. You can see the scar right here.
Nice.
And the doc said I went back and watched or listened to the last podcast because I had a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was like, oh, and the doc said I could ride in like 48 hours, so I'm like totally gonna do that. I'm like preluding my own destruction. But yeah, and so yeah, it's a Friday morning. I did just that. I went over to my friend's house. He's got that automatic motorcycle. Or he had that automatic motorcycle. And I was riding around in the morning time, and I sure enough, it was having electrical issues, which is why he wanted me to ride it to begin with. And I pulled over onto the side of the road, and there was like it's like a lane and a half of like how much space I had on the side of the road. Like it was one of those massive side of the road off ramps. And so I was like well off on the side of the road, and I'm like, I just took my helmet off, and I'm up in front of the motorcycle, and I'm messing with the wires like under the headlight in the front. And sure enough, someone came from behind and rear-ended the motorcycle.
Just smashed you.
And so the front fender of the motorcycle hit my face, and it caused me to like hit the back of my head like really hard against the pavement, like split me open a bit, and then like it kind of spun me, and so I burnt like road rash the side of my head. And so luckily he pulled over and like was running up to me and was like, oh my god, are you okay? Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, yeah, take me to the fucking hospital, because I was like holding my scalp in place. And
did he take you to the hospital? You
yep.
wait for an ambulance?
Mm-hmm. Because I know, like you ever had one of those moments in life where you are bleeding and you know you're losing like a lot I blood, and you're like, this is bad. Like,
yeah,
stuff needs to happen now.
Like in my motorcycle accident, I couldn't move. Like I was 100% in shock, and I had my girlfriend at the time on the back of the bike, and so like I tried to move to see if she was still alive, and like I couldn't even move. I had to ask. Some lady came running up, and she's like, oh my god, she's like, I'm a nurse, whatever, stay still, like all this shit. And I'm like, is my girlfriend alive? She's like, yes, she's okay. She was kind of fucked up. She lied to me, but
damn.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel you, man. So
yeah,
ambulance
so
got to me pretty quick, but that's crazy.
Went to the hospital and spent all day there Friday. And I got a concussion. I got the bruised ribs. I got 13 staples put in my noggin. And yeah, fucked up my face quite a bit.
So is the guy that hit you buying you like a really nice toupee, or like what's going down?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because so I got the staples out Monday, and there's scar tissue, and like hair can't grow on scar tissue. So we're looking at, I guess they have the technology to like put hair transplant onto scars these days, and like your hair will grow. I'm like debating whether or not I want to do that, but I have to like decide quick, because insurance is like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
But yeah, and so it was funny. Well, it wasn't funny, but like I was in concussion. I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't game. I couldn't really watch TV for that long. And then when originally, like this was the day 0, right? Like, so I got home and like my face was like scratched up, and I felt bad. And they said, well, just so you know, like you might experience some swelling the next few days. I'm like, well, where? Like, well, on your head, on your face, stuff like that. But don't be alarmed. Like, it's normal. And so I'm like, okay, fine. So Saturday morning, I wake up and like I looked like an evil villain. Like my fucking head was like
yeah.
insane. So I look like a super genius from like a cartoon. And
Did
then
you
the
get some
second
pics?
day it moved down into my face.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's horrible.
And it was like, the picture doesn't even do it. Like it was out to here, man.
Looked
Like
like
it was
Quinn
like
a little
I was
bit
gonna
right there.
pop.
Is it just me?
Quinn? Are you saying he's got like a big head?
I'm just saying, it looks like Quinn a little bit. I don't know why. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then the third day, my eyes swole shut,
Nice.
which was really fun. I've never seen like a tear duct swell, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then eventually it all
You
went away. My face
you
is
recovered
returned.
super quick, man. Like you look pretty normal right now.
Yeah.
So.
It took like a week and almost 2 weeks exactly, but yeah, my face is fine, but my head not so much.
Well, that's unfortunate, man. Sorry to hear the bad news. So your buddy, was he ever like? How did it go? Did you you went to the hospital? Who did you contact?
Nobody.
You know what I mean?
So I was into the hospital, and then he got a call because they're like, it was like the
cops were,
Overland
like,
Park
thinking
Police
it-
Department, like, hey, your motorcycle is fucked, and he's like, what? And what about the guy that was on it? And so he came to the hospital, and he's the one that like took me home. But
Damn.
yeah, I mean, he thanked me at the end of the day because he was having a hard time selling the motorcycle. And
Got it paid
so he just
out.
got it.
He's like, electrical
insurance
problems
money.
fixed
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Actually, there was no electrical problem. We talking about that thing ran like a champ. That bike was pristine, perfect.
Pristine. Yeah.
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 I
Yeah.
mean, you don't got to take one for the team quite that hard next
I know.
time, man. You know, just I'll help you destroy the bike another way.
Well, that insurance fraud had to be real, you know?
Yeah.
Woo. But yeah, if I had been on the other side, so I was kneeling down, you know, looking up at the front of the headlights, and if I was kneeling down on the other side, I'd like the guy would just literally fucking ran me over. I'd be super dead.
Yeah.
So
Or behind it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nutty, dude.
different scenarios could have played out.
How the hell is he out swerving that bad? Like he's probably on his
Gotta be on his
fucking
phone,
cell
right?
dude. Yep.
And so like the cops were like, you probably want to press charges, right? I'm like, man, like he took me, like he probably like saved me in the sense that he took me to the hospital, but he also was one that like put me in that situation to begin with.
Yeah, somebody shoots you and then like pulls the bullet out and stitches
Right.
the wound. That doesn't make it okay.
It's like first he's sour, then he's sweet. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's a moral decision that you got to make, but you know, I
already made it. I didn't press charges or anything. So I just like, dude, like you literally could have killed me. So like whatever you were doing, like you can't do that again. Because he was like, no, I wasn't on my phone. I was like, how the fuck did you hit me then? Like I was so far over. And the frustrating thing about all of this is like, so say I decide to keep the scar and people see the scar, they're going to be like, or how'd you get the scar? And it's not even like a good story. It's like I was pulled over on the side of the fucking road and a guy fucking hit me. Like, sucks. Like crazy, especially all the crazy stuff I've done on a motorcycle, like other countries and the rides that I've done. And like the thing that finally gets me is like the lamest shit in the world.
Yep. Just make it up. Like, listen.
Yeah.
Dude, that is the end to your story. Was it Taiwan? Where was the story? Where the motorcycle thing?
Vietnam.
That's the end of your Vietnam story. You're like, listen, so I was in Vietnam.
Yeah, I saved the bus full of nuns and children.
This guy stopped to help me, and then he tried mugging us. It was a knife fight.
Yep.
You know? Got me in the side of the head.
Damn.
So
missed opportunity.
pretty cool. Pretty eventful couple weeks for you, man.
Yeah. And I shaved, they shaved, and they shaved half of my face, which sucked. So I lost my beard, and then they shaved like basically down the middle.
You should have just did a perfect swipe over, dude.
You know, sick new style. And then shaved like the middle of my head and the middle back of my head. So I had this like reverse mohawk. Damn. And then they shaved like the side.
You know how hard you were working for that, right? Like, come on.
Yeah. Dude. I was like, you know how long it took to grow and harvest that crop? Like, are you kidding
40
me?
40 years to get the hair. Come on, man. Not like this. So,
but now I have a shaved head and like a kind of a bald man, and I don't like it. I always knew I wouldn't like it.
Maybe it's just time, dude.
Nope.
Maybe it's time. Nope. Maybe it's time to bick that shit. Just bick your head.
Meant to have hair. Oh, no way. No. I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna mail you. Listen, I got you, bud. I'm gonna mail you a Fusion, Gillette, Mach, whatever, 50 blades on it. You look good.
Absolutely not. You first.
Okay.
Maybe
So,
I'll do
how about
cornrows.
how about the hand? How about the hand?
Yeah, the hand feels good. So I had surgery and surgery went well.
So like the wreck didn't fuck the hand up?
It reopened the wound, but they were able to like re-stitch it and glue it back together. So
cool. So no harm.
No harm. They don't think any harm anyways.
And gaming feels okay on it?
Yeah, I'm honestly gaming feels great right now, and I've been going since like 6, which is a good sign. So yeah, feels good. So hopefully the gaming can return, no problem. But, what about you, man? So like so if you guys don't know, we're gonna start doing Wednesdays was that right? It's Wednesdays for a while, or
yeah,
just
we're gonna start doing
week?
Wednesdays for a while. Yeah. Next week for sure. My schedule is nutty right now. I started my new job, and I'm getting up at the crack of dawn now. So it's like I went from, before I'm getting up at like sometimes even before 6, like 5:45, a lot of days. So staying up late's been rough, and then they got me, doing a lot of training, a lot of work and stuff, and then getting off doing the kid thing, and I'm just exhausted afterwards. But my schedule is also nutty on top of that with wife's work schedule and travel. So next couple of weeks are gonna be weird, but I think Wednesdays will work out for us.
Okay.
So just keep an eye on the schedule, guys. If you're interested in catching all the episodes live, then follow us on the Twitters, and we'll have them up there for sure. But it looks like it's going to be Wednesdays for a little bit. But yeah, man, everything's going cool. It just sucks that I don't have time, or like it's honestly a time and an energy thing. It's like at the end of the day, I'm like I want to stream and I want to make content, but it's like I'm exhausted. I'm like I'm going to bed. I got to get up.
Do you think that will die down, or do you think that?
I think it'll die down. I think once I get the getting up early thing, I don't think is going to die down a whole lot, but I think I'll get more used to it and less. I think it'll be a lot less crazy, Okay. Everything's so new now. Like there's so much to learn that I'm just like constantly racking my brain. That's like mentally stressful. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's going good. Good. I'm cool.
Good.
I'm happy.
You like the job outside of that, or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's like a huge long ramp up time. So, and like I can't give too many details about it, but I think it's like a super like I'm not even really doing a lot of it yet. Just meeting people and learning like training stuff towards it, but it's a long ramp time to get into this role. So it's crazy. So, yeah, it's fun.
Well, should we do like one of these podcast things about games?
Oh, I thought we were done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in.
At 5 a.m.
That's double underscores on the Twitter.
Yeah. At the PChild, no. Yeah, let's talk about some game stuff. Man.
Okay.
There's one thing that super bums me out that we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Okay.
Super bums me out.
Sure. But. So, an eternity ago now, we asked, what's your take on Path of Exile's controversial 3.15 patch? Option 1, total shit show. Option 2, needs work. And option 3, POG, a game is better. Needs work came in at 50% of the vote. Total shit show at 30%. And POG, game is better, about 20%. So, a little bit of a rocky time right now for a POE fan.
The POEs?
Yeah,
I haven't kept up with it much since the last pod. So
shocking.
I'm sure it's been. I haven't kept up with anything, honestly. Yeah. I'm sure it's been. You've been out of the loop a little bit too. So I saw you were playing some POE tonight.
Yeah.
Have they done a lot since that last patch?
They did some quality of life stuff. So like it's easier. Like one of the vendors, the raw guy, which is his crafting's pretty fun. I like it. I think if he's like the only vendor to stay, it'd probably be pretty good or something like that. But yeah, it's not bad. Like they added a QOL now that's like before it'd be like remove a modifier that's of the lowest level. And so a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's a T8. So I can remove that. And then they click the remove, and what it meant was like the lowest level modifier, which is not something you can see in game. You'd have to like go to the wiki to see like what the levels of modifiers are. So that's like a terrible feature. And And so they fixed that, and so now it like highlights in yellow like what it's actually going to or what it's likely to remove and stuff like that. So that's cool. Good. But yeah, there's other stuff we'll get into a bit later with Path of Exile. But yeah, and so the question, and this is a little topical because we're going to talk about it in a minute. New meta pack question of the week: should Ethereals stay in Diablo 3? Hashtag Diablo. Option 1, no way, too OP. Option 2, heck yeah, super fun.
All right.
We'll post that in chat.
There's a right and wrong answer.
There is.
Don't F this one up.
But in the Diablo 3 universe, Filthy Rich posted that there was an update to the season that should fix a lot of the stability performance issues that we've been experiencing these past few seasons. So yeah, I haven't gotten in to mess around with it, but hopefully this is the way.
Yeah, I think they got the juice they needed, the data they needed for the F mod from those PTRs that they put up, and they were able to knock it out. So
yeah,
pretty cool, man.
Great.
Like,
wonder is our boy Frankie responsible? Who did it? Who figured it out? Good job.
Yeah. We'll just give Frankie credit either way. Yeah. Good job, Frankie.
Good job, Frankie. And then, as we said, we're going to talk about it a little bit. There's 400 leveling upvotes on this thing, and this guy saying Ethereals need to stay in all caps. And there seems to be a lot of sentiment around people agreeing with him. Of course, the first comments is like, yeah, keep it, and double bounties and fourth cube slot. But yeah, it seems like people are really enjoying the Ethereals, which is, you know, maybe it didn't hit for me specifically, but I think
it's a cool. So I do think it's a really cool season theme. I think it's my favorite one by far.
Okay.
But I don't think they can stay. And they're just so powerful. They're so flippin' powerful that like you're just replacing whatever weapon you used before with an ethereal weapon, and your power level goes up. It's just power creep, and it doesn't really change the way you play the game. It doesn't really change any of the activities you do in the game. It doesn't really. I don't think it opens up like drastically different play styles. Maybe there's some classes that I haven't experimented with because I haven't gone super ham this season.
Yeah,
but it's just like artificial power creep that makes balancing that much more difficult. Which, I mean, I know it's already gone and they'll probably never be there, but I think we need to go the other direction. I honestly feel like taking away power too strong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we need to lower power level to drop us like 20 or 30 greater rifts across the board, not give us power. Power's fun though, man. It is a really fun seasonal thing to have for a season, and I'm not trying to take that away.
Yeah.
I do think it should stay. I think it's a great idea for this season. I think it should stay this season, and it was amazing. And if they roll it around in the future, once they stop supporting D3 and we get seasons on cycle, this will be a super fun season to play. But permanently in the game, I think it's too much juice. It's too much to let go in the wild. Like you can't just permanently leave those items.
Yeah. I've been curious because you say like you like this seasonal theme more than most of them. And to me, it's like, well, they launched the same day as Path of Exile, so like I didn't even really get to play it, to be honest. I wonder what my stance on it would have been. Had
I think it was the chase of the loot chase is always fun. I mean, that's honestly why we play the game, right? We play the game to see the drops and to get powerful, and these do both of those things. It's too much power to stay in.
Yeah,
but for a seasonal theme, I think it fits really well because you're chasing an item and you see the blue beams and you're like, oh shit, it's a blue beam. Once you already like, I got a GG. I'm playing Monk this season, and I got my GG Monk item like the first day of the season, and I'm never going to replace that weapon for the rest of the season. Like it's a perfectly rolled, awesome item. I might be lucky. The Ethereals seem to drop pretty frequently for me. I mean, I know we had some strain of bad luck early in our season start and other people were complaining, but I think if you play enough, that's going to balance out where you're going to get it. And
I do kind of think the gear is the way. Like, if you're going to have a seasonal theme, like, and you want to be encouraged to play because like something is never going to be that way again. Like, I think the fourth cube slot was fun. I think, Rourke was fun in its own right, but I do think that this is a bit more like robust and it's
gear is definitely the play.
Yeah.
I think it's because that's really why you play the game. You play the game for the loot. You
Yeah.
play the game for the power, and the loot gives you the power in this game. So, I like it, man. I think they killed it with the seasonal theme. I don't know if I've said this before. I probably have. I don't know how they'll top this season. I hope they got some nice cards up their sleeve because
I want
to
them
me
to
it
top
feel
this season.
I feel like this was significantly better of a theme than all the other ones combined. To me,
Okay, wow.
Like fourth cube slot was cool and I liked it, and Rorg was cool for build things, but
Bro, and
I think
circles on the ground, that was poggers.
Yeah, circles and double goblins and bounty men. Like they've definitely stepped it up.
Yeah.
So, but chasing the loot's fun, man. It just can't stay. Like they could do this again. They could take this idea and put some other kind of armor in the game for a season and let those seasonal drops stay, but it can't be this powerful.
Yeah.
They have to it has to be unique or more in line or something else, So I think they should be harder to get to, honestly. Like I know that seems really crazy for casuals, but like I had like 21 Ethereals on my second day or something. You know what I mean? Like I would like, I don't know. I say that, but then I think about primals and how you never get the GG primal you want. So I don't know. Maybe not. I had to think that over a little bit more.
You think about that. Okay, just chill out.
Well.
But that's kind of it on the D3 front. But there's still a lot happening in the Diablo world. We have quite a bit to talk about on D2R as we're getting closer to launch. So there was some controversy with, originally Rod Ferguson had kind of like opened up a discussion about like fixed loot in the sense of like, like what we talk about time and time again with Diablo 2 Resurrected is that idea of like, you kill Diablo and then it drops some good stuff, but whoever clicked it fastest like gets it in your group, and that's kind of like the default for Diablo 2, and that can't be fun in the current year whatsoever. Like no game does that. So
I think they should, like, well, I'll save the point. Go ahead and finish your Rod Ferguson thing, and then I want to hit this.
Yeah,
I want to talk about it though.
So he opened up the discussion, and people kind of took it as like, this is what the direction we're thinking with Diablo 2, and so like people kind of freaked out, and so he kind of came back, and I think he deleted the original tweet, which was originally talking about the conversation, just to like avoid the conversation or avoid the confusion. So I couldn't find what he actually said, but he did follow up and said, take a deep breath and relax. We're not doing it. I think it's okay to have a discussion, understand the implications and expectations of other players. You're literally fighting against something that isn't being done. So
yeah,
it's not happening.
He's like, I understand. Chill out, dude.
Yeah, dude. The purists are nutty.
And I think there are systems that you can have it both ways. Like I honestly think that they should make, and this is something that they've been discussing in World of Warcraft for Classic, to relaunch Classic again, but they call it Classic Plus. And Classic Plus actually gets changes that weren't in original. And I think they could do something like that with Diablo 2 as well. Like, here's Diablo 2, here's Resurrected. It's the same fucking game with just pretty graphics. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to have like Diablo 2 Resurrected servers that are like Resurrected Plus servers that have whatever the community can give the valid feedback to give the cool ideas. Like, maybe they want randomized loot, maybe they want like not having to go to lobby or recreate game, or whatever quality of life features or awesome loot ideas that the community comes up with. Throw those in a plus mode, and then if it sucks, guess what? You still got regular right there.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because there is something in here, the schedule, that kind of alludes to that might be where they're going to go. Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a minute.
That's a good play. Honestly, I would be, if I were a D2 fanboy, why would you not like that?
You're just like, no, I want this forever. I don't want
it's like, we still got
balanced.
We still got this cake over here. Like, put some ice cream on that shit.
But yeah, and then Reddit did a massive poll. I wish we get this kind of turnout on some of our surveys. Actually, we did have a lot of turnout on that. What was the one we did? Man, forever ago.
It was like 2 or 3 pods back. I do remember. Yeah.
No.
I don't remember what we asked though.
A long time ago. I think it was like post Diablo 4 being announced or something. Anyways. I had to like go to a third party site to like get all the data that we need.
Oh yeah, no, that we asked what was that?
Right?
Because it was really good data that I honestly think Blizzard could have used.
Yeah.
What did we? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Maybe somebody in chat will remember and remind us, but I do remember that.
Yeah. Okay. So Reddit did a poll. 9,000 people showed up to do this thing, and it's entitled "Most Wanted Changes for Diablo 2 Resurrected." So 9,000 people took the survey. 80% want stackable runes and gems. I think that is like, how is this not a thing? It's so crazy to me that someone out there would be like, no. Like 20% of people are like, no.
I hate my inventory space.
Yeah, like that's so crazy to me.
Like inventory space sucks in D2, man. If we're being real, good lord, it's so bad.
77% of people want additional item tooltips to like show min max rolls of stats and stuff like that, which is pretty basic in POE. And Diablo 3. So yeah, 100%. But again, 23% of people out there are like, no, I don't think that should be a thing. 74% of people want minor mercenary balancing to make all the mercs viable instead of just Durka from Act 2.
Okay.
73% of people want an in-game rune word and Herodic Cube encyclopedia, which I have to agree with. This kind of goes back to what we talked about a minute ago with the Path of Exile. They'd be like, remove the item tier with the lowest level. And it's like, well, you have to leave the game to find that out. It's kind of the same thing with Diablo 2. It's like,
it's not like the information's not there too. There's wikis all day.
Yeah.
So it's like, just put it in the game so you don't have to tab out. Yeah. I agree with that one.
Positive game design all around. Like you should never have to leave the game to play the game.
So 25% of people voted no, we don't want that.
27% of people
like
voted
why?
no.
Why would you, like?
I don't get it. So like maybe they want to be the smartest Diablo 2 guy in the room and be like, oh yeah, that recipe is like
that Lord Fluffy guy. Fuck him. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to make. He doesn't know how to make that.
Right.
Scrub. Like who the fuck? Like
I don't know.
Oh my god. You know.
Yeah. Next one, 73% of people want an optional loot filter. Of course. Like how? I don't want to see quivers. I don't want to see, ammo ever. And that shit like always it's so annoying. I would love for a loot filter to exist in Diablo 2. 100,000%. 71% of people want minor spell balancing. How could you not? It still blows my mind. They're like, no, I want that skill to be shitty for the rest of the Diablo 2's lifespan. Yeah, that's crazy to me. So 29% of people are saying, no, I don't want balance. 71% of people also want more end-game content. And that's the wildest one to me. There's 29% of people that would say, no, I don't want more. And I don't want more things to do in this game than I'm obsessed about. That's crazy.
Like like all of this shit, like this whole list, like, and maybe that's where you're going to get to me. I'm getting ahead of myself. This whole list is like awesome ideas for a Resurrected Plus.
These are like the most basic, the most basic of like,
this is the shit you could do. Like,
totally.
Okay, here's your basic bitch Resurrected. Like, we didn't change anything, and then here is Plus mode that gets all these things, and that like,
no, this is
I know
not
which one I know what I'm booting up.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, but I think there's something that
was that the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's something that you and I definitely don't understand about that mentality of like the Diablo 2 purists that I wish we could kind of get covered. The best person we've had on for that is Llama, but
for sure,
he's a character, right? Like the guy's still playing.
And it's like I can even relate though, because like my thing was Classic. Like I played Classic originally. I played the shit out of Classic. Wow, I mean, so insane, right? And I went back and experienced Classic, and it was cool, man. It was fun to replay it as close to original as they could get it, right? But if they would have came out and said like, yo, we're going to do some plus stuff on here. We're going to rebalance some of the crappy skills, and we're going to fix the bugs, and we're going to like maybe add some more dungeons and things. Like I would have been like, yo, let's go. Like that's amazing, So I definitely don't have that purist mindset. So because the original game's still there to me. It's like I could get why people would want the original game with better graphics. If people got upset about them making a plus version also, like the original's still there and the remastered's still there, and they still complain about a plus version, then you've gone off the rocker. You need some you need some help.
Totally. And then we had something that we kind of touched on, I think last podcast. We have official response now from Hooli on the state of what the game's kind of look like after it launches. So I'm just going to read this as fast as I can here. So, hi all. Over the last week, we have seen some speculations and reactions from the community around the subject of Ladder playing release post-launch. We want to take this opportunity to share the Ladder only rune words, unique items, and Roger Cube recipes that were once restricted to Ladder will now be playable for first time, included in the non-player and single-player play. Right. So I think a lot of people enjoy that. We understand these items complement prominent builds and playstyles cherished by the community. Furthermore, we have heard the community ask for these items, including single-player experience, for quite some time now. Blah blah blah. But what's interesting is that we hope to provide clarity on our intentions with the Ladder and related systems at launch. We look forward to start sharing Ladder start times with the community once we have locked in. Provide early enough notice so players can make appropriate accommodations for the race to 99. But they don't expect. We'll notify the community exact date, time in September. So there won't be any season or Ladder for Diablo 2 Resurrected at launch. So it's just going to be that vanilla game.
You think they're doing this to generate hype? You think like they're going to get all the launch hype and then can launch a season a month later and it's another hype window? It's another artificial hype increase. I think it's just not ready. I don't know, man. There's still a lot of year left. There's still.
I think that you hit the nail on the head on our last podcast when you said they probably don't want like the first league or first ladder to be, exploited
and buggy. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would make it like the competitive nature of maybe D2R to be kind of a joke. So
yeah, or maybe they're going to give time. Maybe they're using this time to the first month to get the bots. Like, who has the bots? Let's get the bots. Let's figure out how we break the bots for the first season launch. How do we detect them so we can ban people? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be super cool if they launched the season with a huge ass ban wave right out of the gate.
Yeah. So yeah, and the competitive part of me is like, damn, like why even? Like if it'd be like if Diablo 3 Resurrected came out 10 years from now and there's no leaderboards, like I don't know how much motivation I would have to play. It'd be like exciting because it'd be like, oh wow, it's Diablo 3 and better graphics. But maybe that is the play. Like you get over that hype pretty quick of the graphics and the remaster stuff, and then
they can create more hype with the launch
of the season.
Yeah, the season or league.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's probably the right play, to be honest.
I think it's the right play for stability and stuff. It just depends on how long it takes too. If it's like 2 or 3 weeks, that's pretty cool. That's not bad. If it's like 2 or 3 months, then that's a long ass time.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
this is the thing I was alluding to earlier. So there's allegedly there's some surveys being sent out to people that participated in the D2R. They are asking things like, do you like a charm inventory? Stackable runes and gems, more items to reskill or restats, more recipes. How many times would you like a ladder reset per year? Would you like new items? Would you like new things on the ladder season? Yeah. So it seems like by even asking those questions in any official capacity, that is something that they're definitely considering.
I think they're looking at. I think it's a smart play. I really do. I think that's the way to go with it, because the purists can have their pure game, and then the non-purists can get their game, and everybody's happy, right?
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, you're segmenting the player base." No, you're not, because the people that are playing Plus would have quit Diablo 2 Resurrected anyways. Like, if they're gonna pick the Plus version over it, then they probably aren't loyal 10,000 hour players at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm down for it, man.
Yeah, me too.
I hope that Blizzard does it. I hope that they do.
I would be like infinitely more hyped for D2R if at launch there was a season and there was like new items or something in the season. Like I would be like, oh, okay, now there's frontier to explore, instead of like, oh, this is the exact same game I played like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there's no discovery whatsoever. So Yeah, for me personally, I would be if D2R comes out, like obviously, you know, you and I both are gonna play it in some capacity. How much, who knows? But I promise you, if there's a season 1 of D2R and there's like actual like not Diablo 3 style seasons where it's like just a like kind of insignificant, but if it's like a obviously not a Path of Exile season, but it's like somewhere in the middle, I think like whoa, like oh, I would be really excited for that.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I still, D2 still felt super dated to me. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like played the beta and it felt like a 20-year-old game to me. Like it did. So I'm definitely excited to play through the campaign and play it a little bit, but to grind it, like just to grind it, I don't know. I don't know if it's got it going to get its hooks in me deep enough. So
yeah,
we'll see. Like it's also different when you're playing a PTR and you know none of your progress matters. Like you know your character is getting deleted and wiped and stuff. So once it's officially like, yo, this is my account, so we'll see if it hooks in a little bit better.
Maybe,
but
we'll see.
Like in plus mode, could you get rid of the stamina bar?
Probably.
God, it's so bad, man. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. And that's kind of it on the D2R front. Not that that's some small feat, and you know that news is probably continuing to ramp up as we get closer and closer because we are getting closer and closer. It's this month, team. Soon.
I mean, we got what 20? When are they dropping it? They're dropping it on the 28th, right?
24th?
I think it's the 28th. So yeah, we're less than 4 weeks away. We're 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. I think it's the 28th.
Not original, resurrected game. Hello. Whatever.
Do that. You mean the one that happened 20 years ago? No, I want the new one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm really sure it's the 28th. 23rd? Got saying 23rd. Yeah, that could be too.
Load.
Thursday. Yeah, that makes 23rd. Sense. It's Thursday.
God damn.
23rd.
Took way too long.
Really soon.
Why can't either of us remember that? I feel like that's the 15th million time.
It's 3 weeks. Exactly 3 weeks away.
3 weeks away.
Oh,
one in chat if you're hyped. All right. So again, that's kind of all too on the D2R front. We did see this from Blizzard. I don't know if you saw this.
Wow. Yo,
sound
Diablo content. I didn't see it. I saw your tweet. That's what tipped me off.
New Diablo content. Not in Diablo. So
yeah, I like new Diablo content, not in Diablo.
They're adding Diablo to Hearthstone, and I don't understand what's going on here at all. I mean, I haven't played Hearthstone in a really long time, but like,
I haven't played Hearthstone in years. Many years. I like the game. It's not a bad game. Sure. It's just not something that I have a lot of free time to play. Like if I get free time, I'm not picking Hearthstone over other games.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I don't dislike it.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening.
I thought Hearthstone was super pay to win too, personally. Yeah,
but of course.
And that.
But it's like he's a mercenary or something? I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
That's cool.
At first I thought he was like a hero. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. But he's not. He's like,
yeah, it would be cool to have him as a hero.
No idea. So there's that. So if you like Diablo, you like Hearthstone, guess what? You might be okay-ish.
Then you can spend some money.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, is he free? What's the price of it?
No idea.
Did you know it's not free? I didn't even look. $19.99, $7.99.
$50. $49.99. Is this an expansion?
Hold up. What do you get for $50?
I think it's just the card pack, right?
New game. You just buy it, Fluff.
Mercenary pack contains 5 mercenary items, mercenary cards, mercenary portraits, mercenary coins. Each mercenary pack contains at least 1 rare or better mercenary card. Click for additional details.
Yo, $50. Not even guaranteed to get the things. It's just random.
Cool.
Alrighty. It's not a
and then a moment of silence. Chat.
This is the sad part.
Lost Ark has been delayed.
Canceled.
Delayed. Canceled. So Lost Ark's official Twitter page, which has been incredibly silent as of late. People are like constantly tweeting at Play Lost Ark, like what the fuck is going on? And they've just constantly said soon. But they said back in June, we held our closed technical alpha testing, invited testers to venture into Arkesia, which who knew that was the name? I had no idea.
Yeah,
it was Korean or Russian, right?
We couldn't read it before. We couldn't read anything. I have my own character names made up in my head, right?
Following the technical alpha, we have been working hard, translating walls of text, squashing bugs, spending long hours in the recording studio, and preparing the servers for the infrastructure behind the scenes. While delving into all the great feedback and data generated by our alpha and reviewing recent changes to the Korean version we want to include in our release, we discovered there are a lot more things that we need to do to launch Lost Ark at a higher quality bar that our players deserve. As players have been wanting and waiting for so long, we want to take the time to do it right and also ensure we look after the wellness of our hardworking Amazon Games and Smilegate teams. With that in mind, we've made a tough decision to push the Lost Ark release to early 2022.
Not like this.
While we'll be launching in early 2022, we don't have to wait until you get your hands on Lost Ark until next year. Our closed beta will be in November 4th to November 9th.
Closed beta.
Yep, closed beta test, but I think it's
Gotta buy
the people who pre-purchased, which I did.
Packs.
Which I definitely did.
You buy me one? Christmas present?
Give it yourself. You know how long it's been hyping this game and you're not even gonna get a founder pack?
You're single. Rich boy. You just got settlement claim from this shit, dude.
I actually took a hit. I took a financial hit from this for sure. Lost Ark Founders Pack pre-purchase will have access to closed beta tests. Interest players can also sign up and have a chance to receive an invitation. While they've been relatively quiet so far, we do want to improve the quality and frequency of our communications. This sounds vaguely familiar. We are committed to staying more open with our players about what our team is working on. Moving forward, we'll provide monthly updates to discuss the work our team is doing behind the scenes. In October, we'll launch our official forums and official Discord channel.
Every game development company, every studio does this. They always go silent. They always have to say we're sorry, and they always make promises, and then most of them won't keep it. That monthly update thing, you shouldn't have promised that. You should have just been like, we'll try harder, and just left it like that. So now it's like, okay, people like you and I are going to be like, they have one day to give us a post. You know what I mean? It's the last day of the month tomorrow. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's yeah. So give me your initial thoughts. Like, what are you feeling?
So I don't really know what the game is already developed in Korea, right? It's not like they're reinventing Lost Ark. The game's there and it's good and it's playable. So they must have had some delays in translation, and voice acting, voice dubs, whatever, and monetization. It's got to be. I hope that they're spending extra time to flesh out monetization schemes. Because what else? I mean, aside from translation, what else could they need to work on? They already know server infrastructure. Their teams already do it in other countries. Unless you just can't find people to do it in English-speaking languages. You know what I mean?
I mean, my hopes...
We're getting the same game, I think.
Yeah, my hopes is that that's not the case. And that, I know every single streamer that plays ARPGs, and I hope that they have, received feedback from, says the same thing that I say, right? It's going to be a fun game. A ton of people are going to play at launch, but it's going to quickly teeter off as people kind of realize it's it's a time gate game, and it's, pay for advantage, and the end game isn't necessarily set up to be something that the West is going to love. So hopefully, maybe they're going to do something about that. But I do like the fact that we're not going to be waiting on Korea stuff, because Korea just came out with a bunch of new stuff, and it sounds like we're going to get that too. So I hope that there's not going to be a ton of lag between what they get and what we get.
Think they're going to dual launch us? Korea and NA or West push new content at the same time?
No.
That'd be sick. I would be surprised. I always felt like Korea will get stuff before us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to get, and that kind of ruins the hype for us, because we'll see how it plays and people will figure out metas and stuff fast, or strategies for bosses or whatever. I think Lost Ark's endgame content is designed around a time gate, so it has to be there. That's Lost Ark's huge MMO-ish quality, is that it time gates like MMOs, one raid a week for WoW. Lost Ark is 1 or 2 day drops a boss until you buy
Guardian
more
raids
things,
a day,
right? Yeah. And so that's the end game for Lost Ark. The end game is the progression, and I don't know how you could restructure that without drastically redoing the end game of it. And I don't think that'll go away. I hope the pay to win, like maybe paying to buy extra loot chances. I hope that's not in there. It's going to be, but I hope it's not in there.
Yeah.
Because if they make the end game like multiple characters, like which is kind of like what WoW does, like I'm okay with that.
That's what this game will be too. 100%.
Yeah, because the characters play so different in Lost Ark. Like they do really feel different. And
yeah, it is fun to play multiple characters.
It's fun to play multiple characters. It really is. Although, don't get me wrong, I still love the ARPG login, go grind forever. If I'm an animal and I can go 24 hours a day, then my character should have that advantage.
Yeah.
And that gets taken away when you time gate stuff.
Yep. Another beauty of Path of Exile.
Yeah.
So yeah, sadness.
I'm bummed, but I'm glad that they're not gonna push the game out broken if that's the state it would have been in.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually kind of happy about this personally. One is because it's always a better idea to delay. So I'm glad that they did it, regardless of what that reason is, right? Like I don't want them to rush anything because this is a game we've been talking about forever, and I do want to enjoy this game when it comes out finally, especially PvP. But more selfishly, Halo was given a date, so it's gonna be December 8th. And so between Diablo 2 Resurrected and the new Path of Exile season and an imminent maybe even Diablo 3 season, it's gonna be a full like October, November.
I hope I might be able to get some insider access to this bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Get me.
Get
me in a flight.
We'll see
tomorrow.
I don't have any connects yet, but we'll see. But yeah, man, it would be it's funny because I got such mixed reactions. Some people said the game looked and played and felt amazing, and then some people said it was straight garbage. So I really am curious as to if it's going to be good or not. It was so extreme, man. There were like different people that had literally one end of the spectrum versus the other. So
yeah, it's been the same for I've kind of reached out to the people that I remember from Halo and like the guys that I played with regularly, and it's been mixed as well. Like the people that I generally agreed with, and like our favorite Halos were like not the standard ones, don't like it, but the guys that like grew up in that Halo 2 generation seem to love it.
And isn't it just the multiplayer that's launching?
I don't know.
I think I could be wrong about
free,
this.
The multiplayer,
but I think it's just the multiplayer and the campaign comes later on. I could be wrong about that though. I mean, I just remember reading that somewhere. So
okay,
and they're doing seasons and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
Seasons, yeah.
The free scares me. Like I'm super scared of the free if it's still going to be free to play because of bots and things. And I've never seen a free to play game handle the bots well. Apex full of bots.
Yeah, but you don't hit them that hard. I mean, for a while when they first came out, it was like every game. But I think Apex does better than most other shooters.
They do better than most, but there's been many games where I've gotten killed and I'm seeing the guy's camera just snap lock to people and stuff.
Yeah, but you're also like really bad too, so there is that.
Right, and I'm fighting bots at the bad levels too. Like, what the hell, man?
Are you ready to get carried December 8th?
Yeah, dude.
Is this something you're hyped for?
What? Yeah, I'm super gonna play.
What day is that?
What day is it?
I think it's like a Wednesday or something weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's fucking Wednesday.
Well, yeah, it is. What the hell?
Yeah.
Weird. Sure. I guess Wednesday we're both sick.
Yep.
So.
But yeah, that's. Oh yeah, and the Path of Exile, right? So
yeah.
Chris Wilson has been appearing on a lot of podcasts lately.
I've noticed that, and it makes me wonder if it's damage control. He's like trying really hard to do damage.
That's
control.
What people are still like, and I'm kind of torn because people are like, oh, it's a PR move, it's a PR move. But I can't help but think like, well, one, yeah, does it help PR? Of course, for Chris Wilson to be on podcasts. But two, I also genuinely think that Chris Wilson likes interacting with like streamers in the community.
I think so too. Yeah.
So yeah, and there's been some moments like, some controversial moments of either things he said or how people have treated him when they've been on a podcast, or maybe like people feeling like he's detached or whatever. It's been interesting to like see all that in Twitch chat and kind of decompress all that. But to me, like, again, at the end of the day, what I always say to people is look at Chris Wilson and then look at like someone of his stature in any other game company, right? Like that person is
you can't talk to him,
infinitely more detached, right? Like hasn't played the
Yeah.
game in years, and and Chris is
I can't even think of any guy in his position in any game even speaking with any of the public ever. Like if it's not PR promote time for an expansion, they don't answer people on Twitter, they don't get on Reddit, they don't acknowledge Reddit. I'm sitting here thinking as I'm saying this, I'm trying to think of anybody.
Yeah.
Like
I mean the CMs like do a good job or whatever, but it's never like the head dude, right? Like
the head dude.
Chris Wilson's like as high as it gets for GGGs. So, and he's still in there, man. So, I think it's impressive. I have not personally like dove deep into like all these discussions he was in, but there is kind of this like TLDR from his latest discussion. There's some interesting points in here.
Have you seen any of the things where people you said some people treated him shitty on the podcast?
Yeah, I did. I saw one. He was on the pod with Gazzy and a couple other guys, and he said something about how like, oh, only certain builds can do delve because they're tanky enough to mitigate the damage you get at deep delving, and then like Gazzy kind of cut him off, and he's like, there's no mitigating damage in deep delve. And then they like kind of like, well, you want to take this over? What's his fate? Like some other guy was in the thing, and I think he kind of diffused the tension. But it was. I mean, I like Gazzy. Like we've met. He's a good guy. So there's just passion. There's passion in the room, and it'd be like if you and I sat down with like, some honcho at Blizzard, and they're talking about D3, and they said, well, there's not that big of a difference between like group XP and single player XP. We'd both be like, well, like that's not like, true. It's not like that's rude. It's just like we're just in it more than they are. So
yeah. Tell you.
So I don't know if it's necessarily rude, but there's definitely a lot of passion in the room. But one of the things they mentioned was there's going to be like a new hard mode being added.
Oh, like no logout macro?
Like less drops, isolating mechanics,
because PoE's not punishing enough,
right?
I mean, I'm not a pro. Maybe if you're a pro, it's different. But the game feels super mega punishing to me already.
Yeah,
So
and then some of the items and crafting points he touches on. Tradability is really important. We already knew that. They time and time again they say like they don't give a shit about SSF. So like the games bounce around trading. They like fast early upgrades versus slow end game upgrades, which it's a good play. No perfect items. They always want to be you striving towards gear, which is I agree with. Even like when you have the best stuff, you're usually like fishing for more. Trying to think what else I saw in here that was interesting. Yeah, nothing there really.
I'm assuming they're going to continue down their path of re-nerfing all the acts.
Yeah, that was only Act 1. Yeah.
Nerfing you, yeah. So I'm assuming they're going to continue this path of finishing the acts up.
Additional things, they said the Washstone system is kind of needlessly complex. I agree. Like putting the things, the sockets in the thing, like that doesn't have to be that complicated. I also remember there's a part where he said, Nugi brought up a point where it's like you engage in the league mechanic and like the effort is like doing the league mechanic, and then once you're rewarded, it's like you just click forever and you have to like do more things. Like that just feels like kind of counterintuitive. I agree. They did talk about leaderboards. which was interesting. Uh, Forbidden Right totems are gonna get nerfed for sure. So if you guys are playing that, enjoy it while you can. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff being discussed that I don't have a ton of insight on right now, but yeah, it does feel like more often than not right now in the Path of Exile community, like it's just like everyone seems to be on edge. Like a lot of people don't like where the game's going, and some people do, and Reddit's at war and up in arms. And
ever since the Harvest nerf, man, it seems like Reddit's been in
I agree.
Community's been
and
like going at each other.
Yeah, and I gotta, like, I always go back to this, right? So I do personally believe that 2.13 or 3.13 in Path of Exile was the best patched Path of Exile I've ever had. Like, I had so much fun. I was so addicted to that league. Like, my uptime was insane. I couldn't stop playing. I loved it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, GGG decided that 3.13 was like too casual. And I think that should, like, to me, that's like, well, whatever that formula was, Diablo 4 should 1000% capitalize on. Because if GGG's determined it's too casual, but it's infinitely more complex than anything Diablo's ever done. So like, whatever that formula is, whether it's deterministic crafting that you have to like infinitely chase, or what part of Harvest made it so addicting for so many people and so many people up in arms, and then capitalize on that, even though it's like, it's not as hardcore as GGG wants the game to be, but it's Diablo historically is just more casual.
Yeah, and so, it's like, is GGG pushing for too hardcore? Because like, it seems like that was the break point. Like when they took that out, people were like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
what
and then the next patch right after that, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, nerfing damage everywhere," and like, we don't like that you're going fast and stuff like that. So yeah, it does seem like
it's like you're too hardcore now. You know, like you've embraced it a little too much, maybe.
Maybe, who knows? I'll be really interested to see what happens. Obviously, I'm going to continue. Like, I still think, again, at the end of the day, Path of Exile's without question the best ARPG on the market, maybe one of the best games on the market for someone that's like plays a lot of hours and really loves ARPGs. So it's like, it's not like any of the decisions they're making is going to stop me playing Path of Exile until something better comes along. But I do still have that like nugget in my head of like, man, I was like so addicted to 3.13.
Yeah. Can you put this? Can we like revert back? Can we still play that league?
Dude, if we could do a flashback league to that league, I would go ham. Like, it's so fun. I don't know. And I don't see it from the perspective of like trade league and how annoying it was to like trade harvest, and like, I get all that. Like, the game's not for SSF, but man, that was such a good league. Yeah, and that's kind of it on the ARPG front, man.
You hating anything the last couple of weeks?
So many hates. Gosh. Fluff hates. Being bald men in general.
You hate bald men? Wow. I'm sorry, audience. If you are balding, then Fluff doesn't mean it. He's just upset right now.
Yeah. You know how, like, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. So, God, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Do you have a loves?
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of things. It's been forever since we've talked. So I'll start off by saying I watched the new Reminiscence movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yes. I mean, I watched the first 35 minutes and I couldn't go any further.
All right. Good. That movie sucked. All right. Listen, I'm just if you haven't seen it, I'm doing you a favor by talking about it and telling you it sucks. Usually I don't like this. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was, I was kind of excited, man. I'm a Hugh Jackman fan. I like him in most of the movies he does. And I went to watch this movie and it was just fucking snooze fest the whole time and super predictable. Like, I even was like, this is how it's going to end. And it sure enough did. I think it could have been a cool concept, and it was made by the Westworld people. And have you seen Westworld?
Yeah, I didn't care for Westworld either.
I thought Westworld season 1 was legit. I thought it was super awesome. Season 2 was a little bit crazy on the crazy side, and that's all I stopped. I stopped watching there. But I was excited to see what they were going to put out. But yeah, it was bad. So that's kind of a PChild hates. Don't waste your time seeing that.
Mm.
And then on the loves front, man, it's nice having money again.
Yeah. Sure.
See this nice new.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Nice new Logitech Embody.
Wow. Guys,
that's a big boy
switch
chair.
your subscriptions to Lord_Fluffy. This guy is loaded.
No, I spent a little cheese and bought myself a new chair. I like it, man. It's been pretty nice. I've only had it a couple days. So
dope. I need a new chair. I really don't like this chair. So
it's different. Like if you're
you
ever
seem to be
in the
sitting
market
lower actually than normal.
Yeah, I am a little bit. Yeah, and I'm further away too, so it changes perspective because like normally I would be sitting closer to the camera. So, I'm gonna. My office is a mess. I've gotten like equipment for work, like work stuff to set up, and for the pod I had to like throw it all in the corner and like make room. And out tomorrow I'll have to set it all back up. So my office is trashed.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay. I got hates. Disingenuous. Being disingenuous, right? So like I've realized I've had some like epiphanies over the past. I've had a lot of time to think the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed, it's been a trend for me in my past relationships is, I think girls get addicted or excited about the idea of how I live my life, right? Like I travel a lot. I don't want kids. I don't want to get married. And that's exciting to some people. And I think that the past relationships have, I guess, like tried to like convince themselves that that's what they wanted to, because maybe they weren't necessarily happy with their life up until that point. And so they would just like submerge themselves into that new ideal and like portray themselves in such a way that, I would want to keep them around and I would want to like be with them and stuff like that. And that's not really being true to yourself. And I think eventually like it would get to the point where self-sabotage was coming to the room, and yeah, like they eventually resent me because they're not who they like want to be, even though like I never asked them to be this like other person that they never were, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
not sure who you're talking about there, but
I mean the last two girlfriends for sure.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think it's easy for people to be like, oh man, that would be fun to live that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we're not just talking about for a week or two.
Right.
Like we're talking about for the rest of your life. Like this is who you are. And I think some people don't know how to be true to themselves and know what they want. I think a lot of the problem, honestly, like this is going to sound super mean, but I've in the past dated so many people that had no fucking hobbies and no interests. And like it blows my mind because anytime I'd have free time, there's things that I want to do. Like there is always, I want to go do this. I want to play this game. I want to go play basketball. I want to go mess with my car. I have hobbies. I have things that take my time and I want to invest my time in them. And it's like, I would date people and like their hobby was me. And I'm like, I'm not your hobby. Like if I'm busy with the guys doing something or I'm busy playing a game or whatever, like, do you have something that you want to do? And they're like, not really, know? And I'm just like,
codependency is a really unhealthy thing. You should.
Like it's weird. It's weird to me. And luckily my wife doesn't have that issue. Like she can, she's got hobbies and things that she's into. And I think that is obviously why we're together now. But she was like one of the first people that it was like, hey, I'm going to go play video games for like 8 hours. Are you cool? And she's like, yeah, have fun. And I'm like, sweet, and then she'd go entertain herself. Like I didn't have to, like, when are you going to be done? You want to like watch this movie or,
I get it, man.
So, yep. Let's get into some Twitter questions. If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, you can tweet them at myself, at Lord Fluffy. Join our Discords. We have sections in there. Honestly, Twitter is a good play. Oh, you know what? I think I had some Twitter ones today.
There was one that tweeted at us.
Yeah, so I'll try to find that real quick. Or if they tweeted at us, you find it real quick. Well,
yeah, I got it.
Here we go. I think I found it.
Oh, we forgot to mention that too.
Yeah, I'll do it first. So, Niloy, I'm just going to call you Niloy.
Yep.
Or Gosh says, with many Twitch streamers jumping ship to YouTube, what are your thoughts, and would you consider switching platforms? Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it up. So the big ones that I've seen are Tim, the Tatman, and Dr. Lupo.
Yeah. Was
there more than that? Those are the big announcements that I saw.
I'm sure there were others, but those are the big two.
Yeah. Tim's massive. I've watched Tim stream a little bit. Like, he's entertaining, and I get it. I saw Lupo before he blew up when he was a Destiny streamer, and I like his content too. But they're leaving for money, man. Like, that's the only reason. Like, it's got to be the only reason.
Well, you say that.
Fat paid. Lupo said, Lupo's quote was
Lupo
literally
said money.
Lupo's like, this contract's enough. I'll never have to worry about money the rest of my life.
Right.
So his is definitely money, and I kind of feel like Tim's probably would be too, and they just want to admit it. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make $50 million at YouTube. Peace.
Yeah, but part of me is like, what if they like? There's been some speculation, like, what do they know something? Like, there's been some speculation that like Prime's gonna end, and that's like a big income stream for a lot of people. And if
Prime's huge.
Yeah,
Prime was a huge portion of my subs. You know, it was definitely a big chunk of them. Yeah, I don't know. So what would it take for me to switch? Twitch is where people go to watch streams, man. I don't think unless you're somebody of that size, I don't think that you'd make it on YouTube. I really don't.
Yeah.
Unless you started producing YouTube videos as well. And if you solely wanted to be a streamer and not a YouTube video content creator, you're gonna 100% fail. YouTube's algorithm doesn't support it. YouTube could crush Twitch if they wanted to. I just don't know why they don't. If YouTube literally built a dedicated platform that was like just like Twitch, they could even copy some of their layout, but with YouTube's search engine algorithm and their AI, they would destroy Twitch. They just haven't done it. They keep wanting to segment live streaming into their video VOD platform, and it's not the play, in my opinion. So, but if you're that size, if you're Tim size or Lupo size, like, you'll see
fat
what
joke
like
on Tim. Wow, dude.
Huh?
Nothing. I said a fat joke on Tim. You said if you're someone of that size.
Yeah, true. Tim will make it like Doc. Doc actually came out and said the other day that he makes a quarter of the revenue on YouTube than he does on Twitch. So if you guys think that like you can make it like numbers make or everything, it's not. There's more to it than just like your average concurrent viewer count. Because Doc still averages 30,000-40,000 people on a YouTube stream, and he'd pull 30,000-40,000 on Twitch.
Yeah.
But he said I watch Doc. I like Doc a lot. Doc said the other day in one of his streams that he's pulling a quarter of the revenue that he was making on Twitch. So
yeah,
we'll see. And look at Ninja. Like, Ninja left Twitch to Mixer and then whatever and came back to Twitch, and now
I'm sure he still doesn't regret it because he got to end that contract early, and all that worked out for him. Yeah,
but like from a relevancy and viewership standpoint, he's he wouldn't even be considered in the top echelon anymore. So, I mean, I'd take his numbers. Don't get me wrong, but it's it's just weird to see. So. Would you do it? Would you switch?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to like sit here and obviously like my only example I have is I've been offered like thousands and thousands of dollars to stream Raid Shadow Legends, and there's no fucking way I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to sit here and be like, no, I would never jump. If I always felt that Twitch was the best streaming platform, would I ever jump? Well, on paper, no. I don't see why I would. But then, like, you've got $1 million sitting in front of you, and it's like, well, yep, let's go. Yeah. So it's hard. It's hard to say.
Absolutely. I mean, if the contract was right, I'd be like, sure. If it was, $1 million, yeah, dude, it wouldn't even be a question. I'd be like, sure, that's game changing money. You know what I mean? So, but it'd have to be for money. As I don't see how you could make it. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested. I want to keep an eye on Lupo's numbers and stuff, and just kind of see how he does. So, Coda says, who would win? Every past and present Avengers MCU versus the Justice League DCEU. Superman would win. I mean, if we're going based on powers, Superman's invincible, and
he's not though. He's got kryptonite.
who's got the kryptonite? Are we assuming that somebody has a piece of kryptonite that
Like,
fucks Superman
did you
up?
see the new Suicide Squad?
I did.
Like the dude
Yeah.
in that movie, like he shot a bullet. It was like kryptonite, almost killed Superman. So
In the new one?
yeah, the main character. The reason why he was in prison was because he shot Superman with the kryptonite bullet.
I don't remember that part, but
Yeah.
I saw it like the day it came out.
So I was like, yeah, Superman's a little bitch. Just get some kryptonite.
Yeah. Better hope you get it quick, Iron Man. So, I don't know. That's the problem with why Superman's not an appealing character, in my opinion. I've never really cared too much for Superman or anything he's in, because he's too powerful. Like, in order for there to be any kind of relevant story, you have to kick Superman's ass. You have to break him to the point where he's not Superman to make a good thing. So he's irrelevant. But the Avengers, if you're asking from my personal standpoint, I love the Avengers, man. I would want them to win. So they can just recruit Batman.
To me, yeah, to me, the DC characters, all of them are irrelevant. If we take Superman out of the mix, none of them seem to be as strong as the Marvel people. But this is coming from someone that knows literally nothing besides movies.
Wonder Woman's pretty badass too. She's pretty good. But yeah, they have some dudes.
But
it's like Batman is
Thor.
Batman is Iron Man. Batman is Iron Man. You know what I mean? He's gadgets and suit and shit. You know what I mean? Where Tony Stark.
Iron Man would kick. To me, Iron Man would kick Batman's ass, obviously, and
Batman would just build.
Thor would knock out Wonder Woman probably, and I don't know. It just seems like all the Marvel people are infinitely more strong, besides Superman.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Big Chief 888 says, "Have you tried out the new mobile MMO ARPG Marvel Future Revolutions? If so, what are your thoughts?"
You lost me at mobile.
Yeah. No, I haven't. They actually tried to sponsor me to play it, and I said no. Because they lost me at mobile, just like Fluff.
Yeah.
They sent me a thing, and I was like, yo, and Marvel thing? Fuck. I was super excited, right? And I start reading it, and then I'm like, on Android or iOS. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, nope. So, and I literally just deleted the email at that point. So, no, I haven't. I honestly don't mobile game. I really don't. I hardly use my phone. I use my phone when I'm waiting for something, if I'm picking my son up from football practice and I'm sitting there, or that's it, man. And I'm watching YouTube video. Honestly, if I'm on my phone, I'm either checking email, checking Twitter, or watching YouTube videos. So I gotta say, watching YouTube on my phone is almost my preferred method of YouTube consumption these days.
Agreed.
Yeah. Watch it on my phone all day. Infinite Truth says, instead of strippers, what would you like to see come out of a birthday cake?
Come out of a birthday cake?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? You pop out of the cake and there's a lady inside.
I've never been a part of one of those, but
you haven't seen it before? I mean, I've seen it in movies and stuff.
In movies, sure.
Cash, dude.
Cash. Sure.
Cash. Just the cake explodes and cash is flying everywhere.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Money.
Just going with cash.
Why not? I don't
know. Scroop says, what was the first movie you ever remember seeing in the movie theater? I don't know which came out first. There's two I can think of, but I don't know which one came out first.
Honestly, I think my earliest memory of going to the movies is There was like this summer pass thing where like parents would like literally leave their kids at the movie theater and we would just like watch movies. I don't remember
Right?
any of those
The
movies.
80s, man.
Right?
Like that shit would not go down
No,
today. Your
at
kids would get
all.
snatched up and
Right.
sex trafficked, you know?
Yep.
In the 80s, they didn't give a shit,
Yep.
dude. They'd
It's like, it's
drop us
fine.
off at the arcade or
Yep.
wherever, and you were just gone all day. No cell phones, no checking in. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how we lived, honestly, how we
Right.
made
It's
it.
funny because
But
it's like I saw a tweet the other day that was like, you know, kids in the 80s or people in the 80s had like the doorbell would ring and they'd like be like, "Ooh, yeah," excited to see like who's at the door, and it's like a serial killer and like right like. But now it's
Yeah.
like people would be like, "Let me check my phone, see if the security camera's got anyone on there," like peeking out the window. Like people are
Yeah.
suspect of everyone these days.
Yeah.
Never fly.
I'm gonna get back to this question, but speaking of security camera, like I have a Ring doorbell,
Okay.
right? So like you ring it, I can see who's knocking on my door. And so like I had this chair ordered and I knew it was coming the day it was gonna arrive. And like the chair is really expensive, right? And I'm excited. I'm excited to get it. The FedEx dude left it at my front door, didn't ring the doorbell, and just had it sitting there. And then on top of that, the box was 100% opened. Somebody had opened the box. And I'm like,
Weird.
what the F? And so I go back and look at the ring. And sure enough, man, this asshole like stuck it on the porch and walked away. He didn't ring the doorbell. He didn't knock on the door. He didn't do anything. He just set it on there. And then it was, I couldn't see if he had opened it prior, or like how it got open, but it was open. And I inspected it. It didn't look like anybody had touched anything. But I was just like, somebody clearly cut it open to see like, oh, I want to see what this chair looks like. Let me open this up. It was nutty.
Yeah.
That's my rant. That's my PChild hates for the week, man. My FedEx guys, I got another story I'll tell after this one too. But to get back to this, I would say so it's either Beauty and the Beast or Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park. I don't know which came out first. So
First, I don't think Jurassic Park would have been your first movie.
I think it was Beauty and the Beast, man. When did that come out?
Way before.
I'm looking. 1991. Yeah. What about Jurassic Park? That was the same time.
No, it wasn't.
The original Jurassic Park launched in 93. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was Beauty and the Beast. Probably Beauty and the Beast, but that's at least the earliest I can remember. So,
yeah, 1993, you'd have been like 33
no, because I saw
already.
Batman. I saw the original Batman with Tim Burton or with Michael Keaton. That came out in 89.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to remember like the very first thing.
Yeah, I'm like going back now. I'm like, wait, maybe it was some. So I'm gonna derail before we get to the last question. So check this craziness out.
Okay.
I started my new job.
Yeah.
My new job sends me equipment to work on. Part of the equipment is a new laptop.
Okay.
Right. Pretty nice, expensive laptop. So they overnight this thing to me. Ship it on a Thursday. It's supposed to arrive on a Friday. So they send me the tracking. They tell me ahead of time, hey, we're going to overnight this to you. Here's the tracking. Boom, you should have it tomorrow. Like, all right, cool. So I'm checking the tracking, and I don't have it yet. And it was supposed to be delivered, by a certain time. So it's getting late in the afternoon. I'm figuring like, what the hell? So I call FedEx and I'm like, hey, where's this package at? And they're like, it's at Walgreens. I'm like, wait, what? They dropped my package off at Walgreens. Like the next day, like insured package or whatever was at Walgreens. I'm like, why is it at Walgreens? And they're like, oh, it says here that you instructed us to leave it at Walgreens. And I'm like, no, I didn't instruct you to leave my package at Walgreens. What the fuck? And they're like, well, it's at Walgreens. And then they told me the street that it's at, which is like 10 minutes from my house. And I'm like, okay. And so I hang up with her and I called up Walgreens and I'm like, yeah, FedEx just said that you have a package of mine. And they're like, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And I'm starting to freak out. And then the lady's like, let me get our manager on the phone. I get him on the phone. And he's like, as I'm talking to him, I'm driving to the place. And so I drive to the place and I'm talking to him as I'm walking in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm here in the store. And I hung up and I go back to the back counter and the box is literally sitting like kind of in plain sight where anybody could just walk in and pick it up. and I walk over to it and I pick it up, and then he comes out like I could have just walked off. He comes out, I'm like, yeah, this is mine. And he's like, oh, I didn't even know he had that. Here, let me scan and check it in. And I guess like they can like drop packages off at Walgreens. But the dude never even brought it to the house. Like I checked my ring to see like, did I miss it? I looked at my cameras, I looked at all my stuff.
Wow.
They never showed up. They just dropped it off at Walgreens and didn't check it in with anybody, let it sit in there. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. Just taking this expensive ass laptop and just setting it out in the
Nice.
Walgreens store.
Solid.
10 out
of 10.
FedEx sucks. Don't use FedEx, guys. Grievous. Last question of the night comes from Grievous Panda. He says, what was one urban legend that you believed growing up?
I had a really I was kind of afraid of like all the chants that you would say like in the mirror, like
Oh yeah,
Sandman. Yeah, Sandman. There's something else too, like there was a female version of Sandman or something.
Sandman's the only one I really remember for the mirror.
Yeah,
bloody mirror.
I didn't like being in the dark with a mirror in the room for like until I was older.
I don't know if I believe in it. There's two. So one, when I was really young, my grandma told me that picking up frogs or toads would cause warts. Did you ever hear that one? Yeah. My grandma told me that when I was a little kid, like super little kid, and I believed it. So for a long time, I wouldn't touch frogs.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't super
Bloody Mary,
long, but
that's what it was. Sorry.
Yeah. There was definitely time as a kid where I wouldn't touch frogs. But I'll say that I still to this day am skeptical of Ouija boards, man. I don't fuck with Ouija boards.
Bruh.
I don't.
My ex, 2 exes ago, she had like a whole story about the Ouija board.
My mom told me a story that she swears to God was true.
Yeah.
Like she tells me it's her story. I'm gonna screw it up. But
okay.
She basically said that she had just like my mom moved around a lot as a kid. Like her dad was in the military and he would go all over. So they moved a whole bunch. And so they moved to this. He got out of the military and they moved from like Georgia to I don't even know, somewhere in the West Coast, like California or some shit. Within the first week, she made some friends and she's over at a friend's house on the block and they get a Ouija board out and my mom's like, I don't believe it. So they're doing the thing. And she asked it, if you're real, tell me my grandmother's name. Because her grandmother had a really weird name. And I don't even remember it now. It was like, I don't know. It was not a name that you would just randomly guess. It was insanely crazy. And the Ouija board spelled it out. And she's like, after that, I was done. She's like, out. I left. She's like, there's no way those kids knew my grandma's name.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like same kind of similar weird story. So maybe a bit more severe. So my ex's girlfriend or my ex's mom was playing with the Ouija board when she was a kid, and it was just her and her sister and like one of their friends or something, and their parents were out of the house and it was just them, and they were like asking it questions and was like, I think what the story is like one of them asked like, where are you? And it said like here. And then the mom started having a seizure. Like she started having a seizure. And like right then the parents came home and they took her to the hospital. And like the grandmother was like really pissed. And so she was like mad that they were playing with the Ouija board. And before they went to the hospital, she like threw it out in the lawn.
Yeah.
And so they ended up going to the hospital, and she actually has brain damage and like was permanently damaged from the seizure, like forever, like and had epileptic seizures and stuff like that after that, and that like changed her life. And the grandfather, who was like I was kind of close with, I have no reason not to believe him. And he said that when they got home, he was like, okay, I need to like go pick up the Ouija board and like put it in a trash bag and stuff like that. And he said it was neatly tucked back into the closet, like none of the pieces dirty or anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah
yeah man. So. Like and like my mom's story was better when she told it because there's like a lot of details I don't know, right? But She swears on everything, like forever, like my whole life growing up. She told me like this story is honest to God true. Don't ever touch a Ouija board. And so, like there were many times in high school, like where I would be somewhere and there were like a Ouija board would get brought out, and I'm like, I'm not fucking with that. And like, there's just bad things, man. So like, I won't do it. Still to this day, if we were, you know, kicking it at the lake or something, and you busted a Ouija board out, I'd be like, I'm not fucking with that. I'm not touching that thing. You know, it's like to me, it's like an invitation to invite bad things. You know, it's just like there's bad juju with Ouija boards, man. I'm not messing with it. I'm not super superstitious, but I guess there's a little fear in there.
Stitious enough.
With them.
Yeah,
just enough to leave it alone. So. That's it, man. That's all the questions we had. If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, or if I missed your question, I know it's been a couple weeks and we had, I was trying to backtrack through messages and stuff to get them. So if I missed it, I apologize. Send it to me again for next week's episode. Again, we're going to go on Wednesday, which will be September the 8th at 9 p.m. Central, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. You guys want to tune in for that episode?
Yeah. 160. That will be
160.
Nice even number.
You guys want to catch more of me at ThaPChild on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all of the places. Twitter's the best spot to get at me right now while I'm doing crazy work stuff.
For sure. And I'm a Lord_Fluffy, double those underscores on the Twitter. See you boys next Wednesday, new time. Again.
Peace.